The question of the week this week is, what is an elevator pitch? An elevator pitch is an overview of your product or service or your club that takes you about the time to explain as it does to take a ride up an elevator. And it's not an easy thing to do, but hopefully today I'll give you a few tips that will help you create one. Now, why do we need to create one in the first place? Well, back in the day, we had a lot of licensed nutrition programs in the club. And the front desk person would be sitting there and a member would walk up and they would say, "Hey, what is your XYZ nutrition program?" And rather than just start spewing off information about the program, we would turn around and ask them a question. And the question is, well, what do you want to do with your body? And that takes them out of a mode of tell-selling. Tell-selling is when you just start spewing out information to a prospect that they cannot absorb because it's just too much information. Usually the salesperson is not even taking a breath and they just can't wait to tell them how wonderful their product or service or their club is. And it's not an effective way to sell. So what we tend to do is problem solution selling, which is where we come up with a problem based on a number of questions that we're asking them, and those questions take us down a path where we can provide them a solution to their problems. But in this particular case, an elevator pitch is a tell-selling technique, but it doesn't quite have the same effect because it's clear, it's concise, and it's short. And there might be situations in your tour where you need to give an elevator pitch, and also say you're out in the community, maybe you're in the grocery store checkout line and you run into a person who sees you wearing a t-shirt with your club name on it and they ask you about it. And you don't have time to go into a full problem solution scenario. So this is a great way to give them information cleanly in a concise manner so that they might be intrigued to come into the club. So the number one thing that we're looking at is it has to be clear and concise. It can't have any jargon, any health club jargon. No buzzwords. We use the term functional training. It's very common in our industry, but if you have the deconditioned person that's never been into a health club at the grocery store, they don't know what functional training is. So you want to stay away from any of that type of information. You don't want to use any non-words, things like better, innovative, state-of-the-art. We want to avoid those words in our whole sales process when we're explaining the club, let alone in an area where we have a short period of time to explain something. So we only have so many words that we can use, and we want to use words that are going to be effective in explaining our product or program. Number two, the basis behind this whole thing is what makes you different? That's the question that you're answering in your elevator pitch, is what makes you different from the other clubs in the area? Why would I come and join your club versus another competitor that's close to you versus not going to a gym and joining anywhere? What makes you different is the key to all of your sales process in the club, in your tour, in your presentations, in your personal training selling, and in your elevator pitch. It's the most important thing that you have to answer. Number three, don't make it scary. Most people that don't know what you do and haven't been in a regular health club, let alone a functional training slash personal training type gym, have all these fears that they've acquired over the years from what they've seen on TV, what they've had friends tell them, what they've made up on their own. And the last thing they want to do is think that they're going to be embarrassed in there or that they might not be able to accomplish what you are actually having them do. So you want to make it as easy as possible for the deconditioned person to get involved. It's for that type of person. Our market is that type of person, and our elevator pitch has to be directed to that demographic. Number four, keep it simple. The one thing that's changed in our industry over the last 30 years since I got involved is way back in the day, nobody had a certification. And then people started getting certifications. Then they started getting multiple certifications. Well, now if you go to a Perform Better Summit, The quality of trainers that are at that summit and how educated they are is unbelievable compared to back in my day when I started. The unfortunate side of that is sometimes people want to show everybody how smart they are. So they're using very complex verbiage. You don't want to use any technical jargon, no complicated exercises or movements. You want to make it as easy and layman's terms as possible so the person that you're speaking to gets a really good understanding that not only they can do it, but they're understanding what you're talking about and how you're explaining it. And that'll make a big impact.